Rejected, throwing away, affected. I don't know what to say. Ejected, cast out to the sea, disconnected. They didn't want me.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Nicksmissal IV, the final chapter. I am Patricia and I'm here with Em and James.
Hey dog.
So today we're going to be talking about the Disney Channel animated series Pepper Ann, created by Sue Rose.
The creator of Angela Anaconda. Oh,
yes.
God.
Today we're talking about a good show, so yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, we already talked about Angela Anaconda a few years ago on Nicksmissal II, so go check that out and you'll see about how much I hate that show. So we're going into the vein of Nicksmissal II, where we're going to be talking about shows that were pitched to Nickelodeon, but then eventually were rejected and were moved over to other networks. So yeah, I actually found this out really late. Like, this would have probably been featured in Nicksmissal II had I known about it much sooner. So yeah, apparently, Sue Rose, the creator of Angela Anaconda, pitched Pepper Ann to Nickelodeon, but they rejected it. And so eventually it was moved over to the Disney Channel. So Pepper Ann features the story of a 12-year-old girl named Pepper Ann Pearson, who goes through everyday life as a 7th grader. So this is a basic run-of-the-mill slice-of-life cartoon that would have came out in the late 90s and early 2000s. But this time it features on a more different side, because since she's a 7th grader, it focuses more on a lot more preteen topics as opposed to like something like Hey Arnold, which is about kid topics. So yeah, I actually do like Pepper Ann. I think that there are a lot of episodes of Pepper Ann that focuses more on the life of a teenage girl. It came out a year before As Told by Ginger, but it doesn't go that dramatic, but I think it's a really cool show. I really do like Pepper Ann's personality. I like the side characters. I love her mom. Her mom is amazing. And I do like the stories. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on Pepper Ann, James?
I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but from what I remember, it was okay. It was watchable.
Sure. But yeah, I actually do like the show, and it's definitely a much better show than Angela Anaconda and Unfabulous, when she came back to Nickelodeon a few years later, creating that show, which, kind of funny, the peaks of Sue Rose. She went from creating an awful show to a good show to a show that was meh. I also found this out a few years ago, listening to Chris Niosi's Did You Know voice acting, but apparently, according to Ben Diskin, the voice of number 1 and number 2 from Codename Kids Next Door, Sue Rose would have played number 1 as recommended by Tom Kenny from SpongeBob. So imagine that. Imagine Sue Rose voicing number 1 in Codename Kids Next Door. I can imagine Sue Rose, their Angela Anaconda voice as number 1. It's like, kids next door, battle stations. I'm gonna take you down, the Toilinator. Oh God, that would have been awful. I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, and he ended up sounding like Stewie from Family Guy, even though that they have different voice actors.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what would have happened if Pepper Ann would have came out to Nickelodeon instead of Disney? Do you think there would have been anything different? I mean, Nickelodeon already had Hey Arnold as their slice of life cartoon, so maybe
I think they probably would ask Sue Rose to change a couple of things up to kind of differentiate it from what else was on Nickelodeon at the time.
I mean, to be fair, Pepper Ann doesn't really feel like a typical Nicktoon. I mean, sure, it's about a slice of life aspects of Pepper Ann, but there were some episodes that were light and fun, but there were some episodes that actually taught some, suggestive things. So, I think that if that would have came out, I think maybe As Told by Ginger wouldn't have been as much of a groundbreaking hit. I mean, sure, Pepper Ann is not, As Told by Ginger in the sense it's really dramatic, but there were some episodes that were pretty, not kid-friendly, and it taught some things that weren't shown in a slice-of-life cartoon at the time. So maybe, there would have been more slice-of-life cartoons for Nickelodeon, and who knows, maybe Sue Rose would have done a lot more than just Unfabulous. Maybe she would have done more cartoons for Nickelodeon.
She probably would have been the next Klasky Csupo.
Possibly, maybe. She would have probably been like that, or Butch Hartman, in which, hey, you know, this cartoon was a major success. Let's have her do more shows. I mean, she did Unfabulous, and, you know, who knows? Maybe she would have done both animation and live action. So she could have also been like an amalgamation of Dan Schneider and Butch Hartman together doing both shows, you know, roughly around the same time. Who knows? You know, when it comes to, like, Disney Channel cartoons, Pepper Ann is not really, like, talked about compared to other shows like Recess or, you know, Fillmore or The Proud Family or Kim Possible. You know, I think that Pepper Ann is a good show in its own right. If Nickelodeon would have picked it up, I mean, I don't think that would have told a lot of the more suggestive lessons. I mean, at least at the time. Pepper Ann came out like around the late 90s, so it probably would have been just like a typical late 90s show. But yeah, I think that Pepper Ann would have been pretty interesting to see for Nickelodeon, but you know, not only as what the structure of a slice of life cartoon would be, but maybe for the career of Sue Rose. But yeah, it's actually pretty interesting to think more into it.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think that it would have been interesting to see it become a Nicktoon. And it's a shame that it didn't, but otherwise, it was a pretty decent show.
Sure. It was pretty decent. So yeah, not really much to say about this. I think that Pepper Ann would have been cool to see on Nickelodeon. Maybe we would have had more slice of life cartoons, but for the most part, I think that with it airing on Disney Channel, I think it was for the best. Alright, so that's it for this episode. So tune in next time as we're going to be talking about the TV series we were planning on doing for Nicksmissal IV, but we just didn't have the time for it. So see you next time.
You got rejected, and your genius that thinks you're a disgrace. You got rejected, and you feel like you've been punched in the face. You got rejected, tell your friends you let us boss in the mail. You got rejected. Suck it up and go to hell.